Grand Moff Wilhuff Tarkin was one of Palpatine's most loyal followers and would one day cause unknown terrors in the name of his empire. However, Tarkin was in a position of power long before the rise of the Empire, and in the Galactic Republic, he worked tirelessly to improve his position, and this often put him at odds with not only the Jedi, the protectors of peace and democracy, but also many other aspects of the Republic. But what exactly did these different groups think of Tarkin, and why did they fear him? Now, we could argue that Tarkin was one of Palpatine's earliest sycophants. He was always willing to do whatever the Chancellor wanted, and he was always rewarded with a vastly increasing rank and powers. In fact, during the Clone Wars, he was very quickly given the rank of Admiral before becoming a governor. Now, Tarkin was a military man above all else, and for this reason, he fit right into Palpatine's plan for an autocratic government. His position as an admiral in the Republic Navy meant that he was one of the highest-ranking non-clone officers within the military, and for this reason, he was a pretty direct threat to both the Jedi and the Senate. You see, although the Clone Army was generally liked by everyone for fighting against the Separatist scourge, people were still very hesitant about it. You see, the Republic had never really had a dedicated military before. It was peaceful, it was a democracy, it handled its problems with words and bargainings, and very occasionally, justiciators and armed forces became involved. But this was very rare. However, the Republic was very quickly becoming a military force, and this made people very nervous. For the Senate, it represented threats to their own planet's and systems' power. At the end of the day, under the Republic, individual systems could more or less bully to get their way and what they wanted. The rest of the Senate would just have to work around their demands. You may be threatened with taxes or blockades or trade deals, etc. However, at the end of the day, the Republic couldn't technically force a planet and force a people to do anything. However, whenever a big military is involved, it means that all of these individuals have less power. If they become too greedy or become too outrageous with their demands, then this new clone army of the Republic can just use it to get its own way. You're refusing to pay your taxes, we'll send the clone army and it will collect them. We'll seize assets. And that is an incredible threat to these systems' independence. Meanwhile, the Jedi also greatly feared this. The Jedi were fully aware of the fact that the Republic was far from perfect. Although it was a free democracy, they knew that there was many within the Republic who were corrupt and that they would misuse their power. And having a huge military at these people's fingertips did not make the Jedi feel very confident. At the end of the day, the Jedi want peace, and that's very difficult to do, because once a government has a big military, it becomes very easy and almost natural to use it. Ultimately, I think that the Jedi and many others in the Senate were very worried that the use of the clone army and the use of military force would become more of a natural response over a last resort. Now, we may be asking, what does all this have to do with Tarkin? Well, simply put, he is the prime example of a man who believed that the military should be a major and constant part of the Republic. He'd already had the support of Palpatine, a man who was somewhat at this point verging down the road of authoritarianism, and we know the Jedi were worried about this. Meanwhile, he'd also pushed the military to intervene in numerous other places. For example, during the trial of Ahsoka Tano, Tarkin demanded that the Jedi banish her from the Order so that she would face a military tribunal. It was very clear to all those who had ever met Tarkin that he was an autocrat at heart. He cared little for bureaucracy and would regularly push himself and the military into every aspect of life within the Republic. People knew what he represented, and it was an unwelcome change to the status quo. It was one where the individual organization's power could quickly be overturned by a military decision. At the end of the day, the Clone Wars itself made many systems feel uneasy. They were now forced to be part of this massive government, even if they didn't want to be. The Separatists, to many, were just people who were trying to leave this massive bureaucratic mess. What Tarkin represented was a dark path for the Republic to fall down, one where you can't leave the Republic. And what about individual worlds and systems laws, for example? The Republic can now enforce whatever laws they want, and they can back it with their military. Essentially, you're seeing individual freedoms, cultures, all just being erased because the Republic can do whatever they want because they now would have the strongest military around. And Tarkin was at the forefront of this. really, he is just one small point of the issues that the Clone Wars represented. But he was also a key player who was pushing for change, and the war had given him a rank where he could really enforce this. Not only this, but his coziness up to Palpatine confirmed what a lot of people feared, especially the Jedi. Now, a lot of people were worried that Palpatine had grown a bit too powerful, and now that admirals such as Tarkin were showing unwavering support for Palpatine, it meant that, say, if he did refuse to step down from power, then the army would support him, and that laid straight down to autocracy. Ultimately, I believe that many in both the Republic and the Jedi Order feared Tarkin, and rightfully so. However, I do doubt that many will have believed he would become quite as ruthless as he did once he was promoted to the position of Grand Moff of the Galactic Empire. But what do you guys think of Tarkin, and do you believe that the Jedi feared what he represented? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. If so, please remember to like, share and sub, as it is really appreciated and it helps the channel grow. Also, please don't forget to follow me on Twitter at TheLoreGuy and tick the bell to make sure you get regular updates whenever new content does come out. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.